Simcha v'sasay mika, Leilu v'simcha v'sasay mika, Leilu v'simcha v'sasay mika. Baby, what do you say? I think it's v'simcha v'sasay mika. Ay Good Voch Nishmas Mordche. Welcome to all the guests. Where are all the guests? I see a bunch of new people. What's your name? Shalom Aleichem. Yaakov? From? Oh, yeah. Son. Shalom Aleichem. You were here on Friday. Who else? Yo, Shalom Aleichem. You're not such a guest.
Right,
what's your name?
Moshe. I should come every day.
Yeah.
Like Casey Stengel.
Shalom Aleichem. It's from Skokie, Illinois. What's your name again? Alan from Skokie. And your name? Yitzchak from Gil. Brothers. Really? Shalom Aleichem. What, you grew up in Skokie? Where did you grow up? You? Oh, Milwaukee, okay. Very nice. What? Me. Oh, Shalom Aleichem. Where are you from? Woodmere. David, Shalom Aleichem. All right, welcome. Let's just read a couple of emails here. I thought this is really cool. This one, in particular, the guy was in a Uber in Los Angeles, and the driver was watching the daf. There's a man, the privilege coming to Yashir, and the RBS in LA, Mishmar. The guy's name was Aryeh, and I pointed out that it even says drop off Gabe in the bottom, so you know it's not a bluff. He's really in an Uber. Fine. Freilich Purim, Gabe Silverstein from Los Angeles. You mentioned the other day the shaila about a compactor in a building, the incinerator. There's an issue of cooking meat and milk together. People wrote to me it's only meat that's kosher meat. Okay, let's say you put the kosher meat in and there's milk in there. What's the difference? The bottom line is I once heard, and I got 2 emails like this, I'll say it over, that in Eretz Yisrael there were protesters that kept putting garbage containers on fire. And the Rabbanim couldn't stop them. They asked one gadol what to do, and he said, tell them that they're cooking meat and milk together, and they stopped. Michal Yagudayev joined End of Yuma. This, Rabbi Murad Nakash sent this to me tonight. I got it tonight. And when I watched it, I was crying. I got a lot of chizik from this. And I'm not going to show you the whole thing because it's like 5 minutes long. I just want to show you a little piece of it and I'll explain the rest. This is I forgot I don't know his first name, from the Gramazians from Dream Mall in America. He's the owner of Dream Mall. Here goes.
5 more minutes, okay? Okay.
I didn't have time to edit
American Dream. If you've been to the American Dream, there's a water park. In the entrance to the water park, there's this huge glass, floor-to-ceiling glass, all the way across. My designers came, I'm like, I want to put glass here because I want everybody going to the theme park to see the water park glass, look inside and be like, oh my God, I got to go to this water park. So I spent $2.2 million on the glass to look into the water park.
Okay, so basically, I'll tell you the rest of the story. They put in this piece of glass, $2.3 million, he says at the end, $2.3 million, $2.2 million. And he was walking right before the opening of the mall, and his brother Sid looks at him and he says, you know, you're going to have religious boys coming here to the mall, and they're going to look into the water park. And it's not very good. What were you doing? You're right. They covered the entire glass. $2.3 million in the toilet. I thought it's godless, really. I mean, the mall, it's going to make more money for the mall. It looks nicer, this, that. But there might be a frum kid that will be affected by it. I don't care that it costs $2. It touched me a lot. They should have a tremendous amount of siyat d'shmaya over there. And Baruch. I mean, these are the things, these little things. It's not little. These are the things that it's godless. To me, it's godless. Somebody sent this in. Some kid made a Purim video.
In my yeshiva and in my home, it's got a simcha when you're in the other zone.
Okay, so we'll go straight to the sponsors. The koil is sponsored by Anon Ymous from Lakewood. The second koil is sponsored by Supporting Torah, Strengthen Our Bitachon. The Masech is sponsored by Maaser. The second sponsor is Leilu Nishmas Chai Bas Yosef, who's maybe, did he get back to you? Is it my grandmother? He didn't get back to you. Maybe it's my grandmother's yours that was this week by Anon Ymous. The Parnas HaChodesh, last day, the MDY family, Leilu Nishmas, Boruch Helfgott, the 2-year-old, Ben ybl'c Chaim, Mordche Shloima. Second sponsor of the month, Leilu Nishmas Zechrya ben Moshe. Third sponsor of the month, Leilu Nishmas Moshe ben Yehuda, by his community. He was a Holocaust survivor, overcame many challenges, inspired his family, friends, and the entire community during his nearly 100 years in this world. Sponsored by Anon Ymous from Flatbush for continued mazel, bracha, and clarity. By the Landy Family, Nishmas Yisrael Chaim ben Yeshעי, and the art this month for complete refuah for Chaim Tzvi ben Leah, Yeshur Koyach, and here we go. We're holding Daf Lamed Tes Amud Beis. Nazir shigilach bein betar bein bezug oish sif safe kol shu chayav. Nazir is a person who takes upon himself to abstain from wine for a minimum of 30 days. He doesn't drink wine. How do they call it in English? A Nazirite or something like that. Nazir. At the end of his Naziros, at the end of the term, he goes to the Beis HaMikdash and he shaves his hair, he brings karbanos. But during the 30 days that he's not drinking wine, he can't shave his head, only his head. Somebody asked me, we're learning the Masechta for a while, he said, what about the mustache? No, you could shave your beard, you could shave your, just not the head. Okay. And you can't be metamel mace, you can't go to a funeral, you can't touch a dead person. 3 things. So, says the Mishnah that this isser of cutting your hair is not only with a razor blade. This is a razor blade. This is what they use in Israel. By the way, if somebody wants to make a lot of money, they should bring that the shaving foam. You know, the barbers in America, they have this machine, it comes out nice and hot. Over here, they don't believe in that. They just use this straight. A couple of nicks is not a big deal. 3, 4 per haircut, you're bleeding a little bit, the back of your shirt is all red. Not the end of the world. Okay, so anyways, this is what they use. It's not only this, says the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, even if you use scissors, or sif kolshu, you plucked it out with your hand, 1 hair, pluck it out, you're over the isser. Tanur Rabbanan. Tar, it says in the pasuk tar. Now, here's the pasuk. Kol yemei neder nizrei tar lo yaver al roishay. Tar is a razor blade. So where it says, you think it's only a tar. Ein li elo tar. Talash, if you plucked it out. Mired, you use some sort of cream to shave your head. Sif, or you plucked out a half a hair. Kol shu minayin, how do you know that even 1 hair, it's aser? And if 2 witnesses, they either warn you not to do it and you do it anyway, you get malchus. Tamaleimar, kodesh yeh gadel pera sar roishay divrei Rabbi Yoshia. Kodesh yeh gadel pera, there's a positive commandment, a mitzvah saseh, to grow your hair. So if you do the opposite of growing your hair, you take hair off, then you're over. But it's anyway, doesn't say in the positive, it doesn't say that it's with a razor. Dear Rabbi Yoshia. Rabbi Yonasan Omer, tar, ein li elo tar. He argues, Rabbi Yonasan says no. The pasuk says a razor blade, it's a razor blade. Let's stick to what it says. Mire talash sif, but if you do it in other ways, kol shu potter, you're completely potter. Oh, v'ksiv kadishiyah, what does he do with the positive? Kadishiyah gadol pera. Lemeimra, the answer is dim gilach le betar koim alei ba'aseh v'lo yisaseh. To tell you that a person who uses a razor blade, because if he uses a shaver, a scissors, whatever it is, he's not over. It's not a problem. Only with a razor blade is it a problem. And if he uses a razor blade, not only is he over on the red, but also on the green. And the green is a positive commandment. So he's over on aseh and alois aseh. Tanyidach. We have another brayso that learns a completely different thing from this pasuk. Tar ein li elo tar. Talash Miriya Tzivsev Kol Shumanayin. It starts out the same. How do I know that if the Nazir used another type of utensil, he's over? So if you look at the pasuk, the purple is what he's learning from. The tar is one thing; it's a razor. But lo yava roishay, we're learning that any type of instrument, he's over as well. Is called davar matam matalo yava roishay. So that Gemara, this is a very interesting kind of Gemara. It's more of a limudim type of Gemara. Drushes from this pasuk, that pasuk, not your typical Gemara, but okay. Do we have an extra seat here? I think Tom just walked in. Okay. So, at the end of the day, every type of instrument is aser. I don't care what it is. As long as it takes over your hair, the Nazir is over and aveira. So then why in the world does the Torah say the word tar? That red guy is completely extra here. It should just say, lo yigaleach, finished. Says the Gemara, so over here you see in the pasuk, V'gilach hanazir pesach hayom es rosh nizroi. Oh, I don't have. It's a shame. Okay, but you guys know what it looks like. I forgot to put that picture in of the Nazir sitting in Lishkas Hanazir, and there's a pot in the background in the picture where the shlomim is boiling. They take the hair and they put it underneath the pot. So it says, Ein li elo tar. That's where we're holding. The last tiglachas. The Pesach HaYom this Rosh Nizroi. Supposed to shave the Nazir on his final day, day 30, after he's done, day 31. It should be, how do I know how you shave it? It doesn't say in the pasuk. Look, V'gilach HaNazir es Rosh Nizroi. Sorry, wrong thing. V'gilach HaNazir Pesach HaYom es Rosh Nizroi. That's all it says. It doesn't say with what utensil. So because in the pasuk over here it says tar, razor, I'm going to use that tar and I don't need it over there. That's an old limud. So it's a sugya of limudim. I don't need it over here because any type of utensil works. But over here I don't know what kind of utensil you should use. So Mela, I know it's with a razor blade. Says the Gemara like this. What? Perhaps I should learn it from a tzara. What's a mitzayra? Somebody has an affliction of white splotches on his body. Here you go. It's a news reporter. So maybe I should learn from this guy. This guy was a mitzayra. I don't know if you can tell. He has a little bit white on his hand, a little bit white on his face. Oh, much better. Thank you. He's a mitzayra. He spoke a little Lashon Hara, got a little punishment. He goes through a process. And when he's done with the process, he has to shave his hair. Now, let me just go to here for a second. Oh, this is the one I want to show the Olam. He has to shave everything. I don't know if everybody knows. Literally, his entire body, his hands, everything, his gabaseinov, even his eyelash, everything. Skanai, his beard, fine. Now, with what utensil? What do I use? I use a razor blade, and that. Oh, time out. Maybe I should learn from a mitzayra. Now, I'm asking the Olam to remember this line. It's very important to remember this line because we're going to go a little bit, maybe even to Amud Beis, and we're going to bring back this line. In other words, we had a havamina, maybe we should learn Nazir from a mitzayra. Nazir is the guy with the long hair. He can't drink wine. From a mitzayra, the guy with the splotches, the guy that has tsaras. In other words, at this point, the Gemara understands that mitzayra shaves with a razor. And the Gemara is asking, maybe I should learn a Nazir from him. If the Torah doesn't talk about shaving a lot. When the Torah says by a mitzayra you should shave with a razor, so let's just learn it also from a Nazir. The Gemara later on is going to ask, but we don't even know that mitzayra shaves with a razor. The opposite, we're trying to learn that mitzayra should shave with a razor from a Nazir. I just want to point this line out, the last line on Amud Beis. Remember it. Okay, now we go weiter. The The Gemara says the reason why you can't learn a Nazir from a Mitzayra, Shein Danin Kal Mechamer L'Hachmer Olav. As you see in this pasuk, as Kal Sa'arai, he's supposed to shave all his hair, where a Nazir only shaves the top of his head, not even his beard, not his mustache, just the top of his head. So that's Kal. You can't learn something light from something Chomer. Okay. Rabbi Omer Einu Tzarech. You don't have to tell me that the word tar is extra, and that's how I learn it out. Tar lo yava aroishoi ad melois. By the way, I'm also a little bit under the weather. Like my body feels weak and stuff. Whatever, lo mishana. Get over it. Tar lo yava aroishoi ad melois. HaTorah amro achar melois l'tiav tiglachas al batar. When the Torah tells us that when you're done with the 30 days, it says you have to shave. Tar lo yava aroishoi, but before the malais, you shouldn't use a razor. In other words, the Torah is trying to tell us, forget the word, the extra word tar. Maybe the extra word tar is coming to say that there's a lav or whatever. But I can be medayik, I can infer. It says, don't shave until after malais, meaning with a razor, but after malais, you should use a razor. Yeah, just a simple diuk. Don't shave with a razor until this point, but after this point, if you just keep on going with your own logic, we'll be with a razor. Now the Gemara is just asking a Rebbe. If you go back, let's see, without making everybody crazy, here, this one. It says, Lo yavar aroishin, that we learned from before, that this includes all utensils. So the word tar, as the Gemara, is extra. So what Rebbe is going to do is going to say that this comes just to say that you're over on 2 lavim if you use a razor blade. First, you're over on lo yavar aroisha, and you're also over on tar, 2 lavim. Okay. Amar Rav Chizda, nu sugya, yeah? For a bit. Amar Rav Chizda, Lilkois ba'achas la'akev b'shtayim listorin isoyisrael b'roi v'roishay u'betar. Again, Lilkois, in order to receive malchus, even if you remove one hair, the guy's a bad guy, he didn't do what he was supposed to do, he promised that he's not going to cut his hair, and he cut his hair, even one hair, he's over, he gets malchus. Okay, that's to get the einish. La'akev b'shtayim. In other words, when he's done completely with his Nazirus, he's supposed to shave his head. What if he shaved all 100,000 hairs besides 2? He's not done. He has to shave every single hair. But if he left over 1 hair, that's okay. So it's different than the einish. The einish is on 1 hair. To be ma'akev, to not count as if he took that last shave, is with 2 hairs. He has to leave over 2 hairs. Listar, and Isaiser ela baroi v'roishay. Ubetar. The Rosh learns ubetar with a razor is going on all 3 halachas. These are halacha l'moishim esinais. That what? That to remove 1 hair with a razor, malchus. Not a razor, nothing. He removed his entire head. Besides 2 hairs, he didn't do what he needed to do. He didn't finish up. And if he shaves most of his head with a razor, then most of his head, 51%, 50,001 hairs, then he has to wait another 30 days. He has to do 30 days worth of hair. Do I remember 7 days and 30 days? Difference? When I did the shaitan, I wasn't sure if everybody got it clear. 7 days is if you have 7 original growth days. If you left over original hair 7 days, then it doesn't work out so well over here. Now, I'm just thinking, because if you did roiv, that means you had other hair that's 7 days. I don't know how to try. Okay. Maybe it is enough. Well, that's not what I read. Okay. We have to look into it. Ubetar. Says Gemara Betarin, with a razor, you're telling me that other utensils don't work. We just learned from Lo Yava Roishai. This guy, Lo Yava Roishai, everything. Kein tar is the concept of something that goes all the way down to the skin. If you're able to go all the way down, then it's aser. I shouldn't say to the skin, more like hashchasa of a tar, going to the root. Okay. Tayaname hachi, we bring a raya, nazir shetalash, miret, sifsef, kolshu. If a nazir did one of the things that we spoke about, he plucked out his hair, he used the cream, even one hair. Ein yisaiser ella biroiv, here, biroiv, it needs to be most of his hair. Biroiv roishai, ubitar. Over here we're going to say, tar doesn't mean literally a razor blade, it means anything that acts as a razor blade, that it takes out the root. Now I just want to point out that to shave is not a problem. You see from the sugya over here that shaving with a non-razor blade is not a problem. It's not considered shaving. However, the Rizal speaks about keeping a beard, and the Chaim says that it stops the tzinoiras, and al pi Kabbalah it's an issue. But al pi Torah, as long as you don't use a razor blade, even if you get very close to the skin, it's not aser. It's only derech hashchasa, going into the root with a razor blade. Huh? Lift and cut. Goes to the root. Huh? Above the root, but to the root. What do you mean above the root? If you go to the skin, it's not a problem, right? What? Oh, you're talking the lift and cut doesn't. The razor doesn't. Did you already write one of your chiburim on that? This week, Ein Sham. If you didn't have a beard, I'd feel more comfortable. I'd trust you more. Now, the fact that you have a big long beard. But when did you write the article? Before, when you used to shave, or when? Okay. Reb Shimon ben Yehuda Omer Mishum Reb Shimon Kishem Shtei Sa'aros Ma'akavos Boy Kach Shtei Sa'aros Soisris Boy. So if you notice here, what's going on? Reb Shimon says, I admit that 2 hairs are ma'akiv. I just argue on you that all you need is 2 hairs to redo your entire Nazirus, that you need to wait 7 days, 30 days. But if you pay attention, he says, I admit to you that 2 hairs, leaving 2 hairs is ma'akiv. You warrant mekayim the mitzvah of shaving if you left 2 hairs. What does that mean? That's a raya to Rav Chizda, that 2 hairs is ma'akiv, because even Reb Shimon, who argues on him, only argues on one part of it, but not on the part of ma'akiv, that you need 2 hairs. Okay. Not awesome. Shloisha megalchim v'tiglachta mitzvah. There are 3. Here's the thing. If you ask anybody, and this bothered me a little bit, I ask you right now without you peeking into the Gemara, who are the 3 types of people in the entire Torah that shave? Mitzayra, a Nazir, and what's the 3rd one? Huh? Cheaters. You're all cheaters. You looked in the next word. Yeah? Who said Levi? You? You said? You, because you went to another shir. Very good, thank you. You? The new guy. When does a Kain shave? When does a Levi shave? And what about later on? Okay, very good. He's right. He's right. I put the pasuk in there somewhere in my slides, but it's Matzah Shabbos, you know what I'm saying? But the pasuk talks about the Leviim shaving. So it says like this. In the Torah, there are 3 people that shave. And when they shave, they're mekayim a mitzvah. They get a mitzvah. What are the 3? Nazir, Umitzayra, Uleviim. What's this Leviim? These 3 who didn't use a razor, or left over in their entire whatever, either their head like a Nazir, or a Metzayra in his whole body. Shtei saris, left over 2 hairs. Lo ya'asu v'lo klum. They didn't fulfill the mitzvah. Omar mar, shloisha megalchim v'tiglachta mitzvah. Pshita. So this question bothered me until I saw the rush. It's not so pasha. To me, it wasn't pasha. The 3. If you had to ask me what 3, I wouldn't know the Levim. But the second part, the tiglachta mitzvah, that's a problem. Okay, I'll tell you that there's 3 people, so you can remember Nazir, Mitzayir, and Levim. But of course it's a mitzvah. It's a pasuk in the Torah. How do I know Levim? Because the Torah says that a Levi should shave. How do I know a Nazir and Mitzayir? The Torah says, of course it's a mitzvah. Those 2 words are the pshita. Says the Gemara, I would think that in all 3 cases, the point is to be completely shaved. How you got to that point, I don't care. Just remove your hair. Do it with a laser, do it with cream, do it any way you want. No. Kamash malah and delay. That's what it's trying to tell you. That there's a procedure how you do it. You can't just use anything. You have to use a razor. How do I know that you need to use a razor? It says, Tar went through. It doesn't get any more mefurish than that. They should use a razor on all their flesh. Derech Agav, 2 things. In our days, this is a nice halacha, you know. In our days, if there's no Levi in Shul, and it happens in Eretz Yisrael every day, this is Birkas Kohanim, hopefully. If there's no Levi, then a Bechar should wash the Kohen's hands. Stop. As a Yediyah. But there was once a Levi that told the Yisrael, he says, it's much better to be a Levi than a Yisrael. Why? Because once the second Aliyah comes and goes, I can go to sleep for the rest of Kriyas Torah. I know I'm not getting Aliyah, I'm good to go. So the Yisrael told him, once I get an Aliyah, I can go to sleep for 3 months. Okay, fine. Okay. Now, here's how it goes, Rabbi Yisai. We're going into a very, let me see if I did this over here. No. Oh, here. This is what I wanted to show. Everything's mixed up today. This week we did a lot of Rabbi Shmuel. And we did Klal Brother Klal, and I said it's 8 out of the 13. Here's the 3rd one in Rabbi Shmuel. It says, does anybody know what that is? What's a binyanav mishnei ksuvim? Very, very simple. It's called a tzad hashava. So it's a fancy way of saying it's tzad hashava, but let me show you how it works. It's very, very simple. We're trying to know and learn, where does it say anywhere in the Torah that a Metzayra has to use a razor blade? So Gemara says, let me learn it out from Levim. Levim, it says mefurish in the Torah. It says ve'virus sar al kol b'sara. So let's learn out from Levim. Says the Gemara. Elo mitzayir b'tarmin olam. V'chitei b'teisim Levim. Maybe you should learn it out from a Levi. Ma Levim shikein tunim tiglachas ve'in tiglachnan olam b'tar. Very, very simple. Okay. I'm going to learn from a Levi that what? A Levi has to shave, and how does he shave? With a razor. So too, a Metzayra, somebody's afflicted with tzaras, should use a razor. So for that, I could tell you, no. Listen to this, Rabbi Yisai. A Levi You need to lift him up. So the Torah tells us that Aaron HaKohen lifted up 22,000 Levim on that day of the inauguration. 22,000. Literally like a lulav. Picked him up. So I thought to myself, I need to do a little tnufa to somebody. And I can't do it to Benny. And I wasn't going to use some random kid. So I asked my son if I could do a tnufa on him. The problem is that he weighs over 100 pounds. Come, yo, come here. Everybody give him a round of applause. I'm going to do a tnufa. It didn't go well at home, but the covenant tzibur.
You come with the right now there's a camera on you. Now this is going to see.
This is going to be embarrassing. Maybe I should
Vlog. Viral clip. Take a jacket off.
Why am I doing this? I cannot do my own son. I can't do him. But Aaron HaKohen lifted up 22,000 people like that, including Moshe Rabbeinu, who's huge. How tall is Moshe Rabbeinu? You ready? Let's go. You gotta do this. I don't even know how to do this. I'm gonna have to grab you inappropriately. Okay. No. You ready? How are we gonna do this? I don't know where to grab him. One. My little baby. Whoa. Get out of here. Woo. What color am I now? 50 years old, man. Go out, y'all. I would not be able to do that with anybody else's kid. Okay.
Your handsome aunt's
That's strong. I used to do that with one finger back in the day. Yeah, okay. Wow. Could anybody take over? Anyways, that's Nufa. Now people think that by the lulav we go. No, lulav that we do today is based on that. All the tnufas in the Beis Hamikdash. I always say, Avi did it. You did it with a sheep, no?
How old was Aaron?
Oh, where's the video of the sheep?
Aaron?
How old was he?
No, he had sons. He had kids and everything. How old was he? Oh, you mean he was very old? Yeah. Moshe Rabbeinu was 80? No? He was older than Moshe. What? He must have been in his 80s, I think, no? But I don't know. We got to ask somebody that knows. Okay, weiter. Did it look schwach?
That was good. Under the weather.
Oh, under the weather. No, I'm not under the weather. I just preempt. It's not nice to do it right when you're doing it. I preempt is good. Yeah.
Putting up
Wow, okay. 120?
I mean, Moshe was 80 at the snap, so.
Oh, he's 80 at the sneh. Very good. And yeah, but this is a few years later. Look at these kids. Man, it's unbelievable. Moshe was 80 at the sneh. So, and this is much later at the inauguration of the Mishkan. Kitzer, he's pushing 90. Aaron HaKohen was pushing 90. Huh?
Come back at 90.
I only thought about it on Shabbos. Okay, fine. So going back to this, you want to learn the red from the blue. You want to learn Mitzayra from a Levi, that the Mitzayra should use a razor just like a Levi uses a razor. I'm telling you, no, Levi is very different. He needs a Tnufa. It's a whole different category. It's a category of Chumrah. Nobody has to lift up a Mitzayra. Ella, Taisi min Nazir. Check this out. Now we're going to learn Mitzayra from Nazir. Just like a Nazir uses a razor blade, so too, Mitzayra uses a razor blade. Says the Gemara, Malin Nazir shekain korbanai ton lechem. Oh, here we go. How do you do this? No. When the guy comes with his long hair to the Beis Hamikdash, he brings his 3 korbanos and he has to bring bread. It's a bread thing. What are you laughing? It's not that funny. Okay. Time of Mitzayir delay. A Mitzayir doesn't eat bread. So again, you're talking about something that's more chomer. I added stuff on him. He has to do things. You have to lift the Levi. You have to bring breads for the Nazir. Mitzayir not. So maybe Mitzayir doesn't have to use a razor. Says the Gemara, that's great. You try to learn it from a Levi, didn't work. Oh, so now the Gemara does something called a tzad shava, and it looks like this. I couldn't learn it out from the right side. I couldn't learn it out from the left side. Let's learn it out from both of them. Both the Levi and the Nazir use a razor blade. You said, okay, the Levi, you'll have to lift him, and the Nazir has to bring bread. But you see, that's not because of the bread, because the Levi doesn't bring bread. You see, it's not because of the Tnufa, because the Nazir doesn't, you don't have to lift the Nazir. So let's learn it from both of them together. A tzad shava. That what? Both of them need to be shaved, and they have to shave with the razor blade. So too, the red guy, the Mitzayir, has to shave with the blade. Says Gemara, hey Taisi, which one should we learn? Taisi milevim. Malevim, she came to him Tnufa begufan. The Levi has a problem, you have to do Tnufa. Nazir chiach, mal Nazir. So Nazir will prove to you that what Nazir does, you don't have to lift up a Nazir. Mal Nazir shkein korban ton lechem. But on the flip side, Nazir has a chumrah and needs bread. Levim yachichu. The Levi doesn't need bread. The chazar adin and goes in a big circle. Lerizek. You see, in yeshiva, it was always scary when I learned the sugya. I got dizzy and I checked out. But it's so simple. The idea is simple. Just learn from these two together in Shalom Yisrael. It's a lot of words. But what's the common denominator between the two blues? They both require a razor, and the razor has they need a shave, and you need a shave with a razor. So Mela, I could learn the Mitzayir from those two. But wait a minute, I do have a pircha. I have something that will slug up the whole thing. You could ask the question: Sheine ein korbanoi bedalos. Oh. Ein korbanoi bedalos means that if you look over here, the wealthy guy, he brings a korban, he brings an expensive animal. If he's not that wealthy, can't afford it, so there it says he could step it down, he could bring birds. That's ein korban bedalos. Yeah. So how could you? What do you mean? What's in his hand? That's Pushka. He's collecting. And then another question. And that's what I told you. Sponsored by Hatzlacha for Aryeh Leib and Aliza Simcha Sheine Mashe and Aliza Simcha Sheine Mashe bad Bracha. Hatzlacha for the Magachir, the members of the HBA Group and their families. Amen. So if you remember, I told you to remember on Daf Yomi Beis, the last words on Yomi Beis. Over there, we were saying that we should learn Nazir from a Mitzayir. Says the Gemara, doesn't make any sense. Now we're trying to learn Mitzayir from Nazir. You don't even know that a Mitzayir uses a razor blade. You're asking me, how do you know that a Mitzayir uses a razor blade, right? That was the whole, to remind everybody. What's on top? The top, what is a Mitzayir? I'm trying to learn a razor blade, a Mitzayir, from a Nazir and a Levi. But the last words on Amud Beis, when I told you to remember it, it says, you should learn a Nazir from a Mitzayir. You can't do that. Fine. It only doesn't make sense. Says the Gemara, two lines from the top. You wanted to learn Nazir from a Mitzayir, and you said, I can't do it. Because a Mitzayir, you have to shave his entire body, and a Nazir you don't, and you can't learn the light from the heavy. And then the Gemara says, maybe you should learn from this, from a tzad shava, Levi, you should learn a Mitzayir from a Nazir. And at the end of the day, you said, no, you can't even learn the Mitzayir from any of this because it goes bedalos. They have different korbanos. So we don't even know where Mitzrayim. How do you know that a Mitzrayim uses a razor blade? You don't even know that, and we can't even come up with a good reason why a Mitzrayim uses a razor blade. Yet you want to learn a Nazir from a Mitzrayim. How? Says Gemara Amalei. So Rav tells him, "Ahu aliv the Rabbanon." Ha aliv the Rebbe Eliezer. So we have a machlekes now. Rabbanon Rebbe Eliezer. We're going to finish it up tomorrow. But here's the start. It's not. You're only chayiv if you remove your beard with a razor. By the way, let me show you this before I forget. I was about to forget this. Okay. This is the Rambam. Anybody ever wonder why Hasidim have curly payas and long payas? Why Zalman Tzvi has long payas? Anybody ever wonder? Zalman Tzvi, how you doing? He's here. I'm helping him out here. These payas, there's no shear. Umutter, says the Rambam, Mutter laka the payas b'misparayim, you're allowed to cut them off with the scissors. Lo nesar, the only isser is elo b'hashchasa b'tar. El hashchasa b'tar. Hashchasa b'tar. The only way that it's usher is going all the way down to the skin. But more than that, says the Rambam, you don't need. So then why taka do people have payas? I also have little payas. The small ones, they go up there. It's not lahalacha. You don't need a lahalacha. It's more like I don't know if even Kabbalah, but I know the Belzers, and I saw that today. I know the Belzer Chassid told this to me, but I just saw it today that they are makbid not even to cut it at all, ever. And he had once an accident or something where half his payah got cut off. So he has one long one and one shorter one. You look at him, you'll see. So there's a thing. This different svarim that bring down a lot of Litvish kids here in Eretz Yisrael have payas behind their ears. It's back from Litta. It's not based on real solid halacha because the Rambam says you don't really need to. You could cut it with a scissor and etc. But it's different minhagim, different things. More of a Hasidic thing, I think, than anything else. And like I said, also the Litvish from Litta used to have little bit payas behind their ears. I'll go upon a boyfriend.
How long your payas is it?
They weren't long. They were very thick. Like they came out everywhere. Huh? They could. Mine are tiny today. Just as a little, as a zeicher. Yeah. Says the Gemara. Oh, so the Tanakama Chacham saying this is what we're going through. According to the Tanakama, you're only over when you use a razor. What's that? This is the Vehenif. Finally, I got to the pasuk out of order. Vehenif Aaron is a Levim. Aaron lifted up the Levim. Tnufa lefnei Hashem. Great. Maybe Yosef, you could put it back there. I don't know. Here, number 5 on the chart. When I was looking for it, but anyways, here we go. This is a planer. So it's hard to see. I couldn't find a good picture, but basically there's a blade. You can see the blade standing. You don't see the bottom of it, and they use it to smooth out wood, to take off a layer of wood. So what if you use that on your face? Take off your beard. So according to Rebbe Eliezer, you're chayiv. Because Chacham say it's only a razor blade. Razor blade. It has to be literally like, oh, I think I grabbed it in the wrong way. It has to be a razor blade and that's it. Anything that looks different and acts different is not involved in the Isser. This is it. According to Rebbe Eliezer, it doesn't matter what it is. As long as it goes down to the root, you're chayiv. You can use a planer, an electric planer, not very recommended. You can use this. You're over. Now, this is tricky. This is Nazir 101. Right here, these words, because anybody that reads the Maitamai Rabbanon would read it What is the reason? That's not the pshat here. It's a little deeper. It means if you're telling me that in order to be over on a beard, you have to use a razor blade, how does that help me to know that you have to use a razor blade on a mitzayra? That's what my tamayo means. Shimshi likes it. You like it, huh? Because it's lashon nazir mishuna. Again, my tamayo in all shas means what is the reason, and then the Gemara will go on and tell us a pasuk. That's the reason. Over here means no. You just told me that you have to use a razor blade on a beard in order to be over the isser of shaving your beard. Only a razor blade. So the Gemara is asking, okay, very good. And how does that apply to our sugya that when it comes to mitzvah you have to use a razor blade? Says the Gemara, the Tanya, skani my tamud loymar, l'fishin emor pas skanim lo yigalechu, yochal afilu mitzvah kein. You see the pasuk again, we had it before. Es roisha, his head, his kana, his beard, his gabis einav, his eyebrows, his kol sarai. All is here. Everything. Yachal afilu mitzarikein. Maybe upas kanam legalechu. This isser of shaving one's beard. We all have that isser to shave with a razor. Maybe that applies to Mitzayra on his final days. Tamaloi marzik kanai. By Mitzayra, here it says kanai. The question is, why does it say in the pasuk that he should shave his beard? If I was writing the pasuk, I would write that on the seventh day he should shave as kol sa'arai. Finished. Then the pasuk is over. Why do I have to keep on going? Oh, and his beard and his eyebrows and I got it. All is here. All is here. So the Gemara says, so a Mitzayra must shave his beard, even though a typical person has an Isser to shave with a razor. A Mitzayra has to override that Isser and shave his beard. Umenal in the betar. And how do you know that he does it with a razor? Maybe he should shave it with a shaver, with an Arelko, whatever they call. The sign you pass konim lo yigalechu yochal afilu gilcha b'misprayim betar. The sign you pass konim lo yigalechu yochal afilu gilcha b'misprayim chayav. I would think that even a scissors is also tamaloymar v'loi sashchis. That what's the song? That song we could do without. that particular one. If you come up with a better one, that's more for Tisha B'Av. But thank you. We're in other. We're in other. But you want to sing a song here? Sing a Purim song, no? A guy, there's a thing going around now that I'll ask Yossi. Nobody answer. Va'ir Shushan. Very good. But they asked this Rav, and when they did it on me, I said Salav Savecha, but the Rav said Navoicha. And he said that the Hasidim say that's the way that you can tell if the guy's a Litvak or a Chassid. If he answers Navoicha, he's a Litvak. It went viral, that thing. But whatever, I guess I'm not a Litvak. Fine. Velois Ashchis. It says you should not destroy, meaning to the root. Maybe use a planer, you should be chayav. Hakeitzad also, this is a Nazir kind of lashon. Hakeitzad, meaning we have a contradiction in the psukim. On the one hand, it says you shouldn't destroy with a razor. You're destroying the root, sort of. And on the flip side, it says yigalechu. You shouldn't lo yigalechu. You shouldn't shave. So what instrument does both? Shaving and destroying at the same time. There's only one instrument. So the Gemara. Hakeitzad means how do you, what's the word? Reconcile. How do you reconcile these two psukim? Hashchasa and giluach. Hashchasa to me is using a planer with the electric and taking off half your face. That's hashchasa. Giluach, shaving, is something nice. But to do both together, how do you do? And we know the answer. There's one way to do that. That's a razor blade. a razor blade could destroy and give you a smooth shave all at the same time, where no other instrument can do that. Says Gemara, who told you? Maybe if you use a tool such as a planer, you'll be mekayim the mitzvah. And the word zakana comes to tell me that the opposite. The Torah is telling him he has to shave, and even with a razor blade, which always is aser, we cannot shave with razor blades. This guy could shave with a razor blade. But of course, if he uses another type of tool, like a planer, he's yaitza. Who told you that it's only a razor blade? If it's true that you can use any tool other than a razor blade, then the Torah shouldn't say it at all. The razor. Listen to this. We know, we said this already before, many times, a Nazir who becomes a Nazir is not doing the right thing. Why is he not doing the right thing? He's over Isser. Why? Because he's what? He's Manei Atzmi Manei. And I say it in English, he's abstaining from wine, and you shouldn't. Hashem gave you all these beautiful things. You shouldn't be taking upon yourselves things not to benefit from this world. We have to benefit from everything. So he's doing something wrong. Yet, even though when he does something wrong, how does he finish off? With a razor blade. Again, a regular typical guy should not be using a razor blade when he shaves. But the Nazir uses a razor blade even though he did something wrong. Says the Gemara Kavachaimer, so certainly a Metzoyer who didn't do anything wrong, he should use a razor blade. The mitzvah, it's a mitzvah to go and do the whole tzaras thing. Look, he got into the position because he did something wrong, but we're talking about today. Today he's going to the Beis Hamikdash, he's getting rid of his hair and everything else, bringing korbanos. Certainly he should be able to use, he should use a razor blade, top of Mem Aleph Amud Aleph, 40 daf into Nazir. V'su, listen to this. It can't be what you're saying. It can't be that he could use a razor blade and also use any tool. And the Torah is telling us that if you use a razor blade, it's not the end of the world. What it must mean is that you could only use a razor blade and that's it. Why? Listen to this svara. If you're telling me that he's mikayim the mitzvah by using a planer, just he could also use a razor blade. Again, I'm sorry, this is Lashon Nazir, Mishuna. In other words, since it doesn't say the word tar, so Rish Lakish is right. Why? Rish Lakish has a point here. He says, the Amar, anytime the Torah gives you an asay and a lois asay, there's a positive and negative commandment. We know that esed doicha lois asay. You could, in order to be mekayim a mitzvah, you could do a lois asay. But that's only when you can't do both. But if I could get away, shave the mitzvah's head, his beard, that's mekayim the mitzvah, and not be over any aveira. How? Because I'm using a shaver, a Panasonic Norelco planer, then you have to do that, says Rish Lakish. You don't have a right, I'm mekayim a mitzvah, so let me be Mechal Shabbos now. No, if you give me mekayim a mitzvah, wait until after Shabbos. You don't have a right, only in a situation where you're forced to. You have to do a bris right now, you have to. Fine. Says the Gemara, if you're right that you can use any instrument for shaving, not just a razor blade, then you'd never be able to use a razor blade. Why? Because it's just there is to use a razor blade. And it's a mitzvah for the Mitzvah and the Nazir and all to shave. So shave without a razor blade. Elamai, what do you see from here? That there's a chiyuv to use a razor blade. It's not an option. It's not, I can use this machine and I can use a razor blade. Because if I can use this machine, you'll be forced to use that machine. So what do you see from here? At the end of the day, according to Chachamim, you ask me, how do they know Mitzvah? According to Chachamim, from this. At the end of the day, this assay of shaving is going to push off the issur of using a razor blade, but you have to use a razor blade. Have a wonderful week. See you tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem, 7:15.